Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. This is our first out of our webinar series for this year, and today we will be talking about academic success and wellness. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Hannah Bruner-Ron, and I am the Director of First Year Enrollment. So super excited to have you all on with us today. We have several members of our campus community who will be talking to you about our academic success supports and our wellness center and different supports for students. A couple things to note before we get started. So first and foremost, the webinar is being recorded. I will be sending a link to everybody who is registered for the webinar later this week. So if you ever need a refresh, you can have that right away. Additionally, there is a Q&A function on the webinar. So if any questions pop up, please feel free to utilize that to type in your question, and then we'll kind of work through those as we continue to go from slide to slide. I know several of you have already provided some questions and things that you would like to see addressed today. And so I've already shared that with all of our panelists. But if there is something that you don't want to ask on the webinar and would rather contact your admissions counselor directly, that is totally a-okay. And we would be more than happy to help. All right, so without further ado, I will promote Abby Hadlick here to panelist so she can take over. She is the Director of Student Success.
There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. So, as Hannah said, my name is Abby Hadlick. I'm our Director of Student Success. So, I supervise our undergraduate academic advising team at Edgewood University. So, I've got a couple of slides with some information just as kind of a brief overview for advising and who we are and what we do. So, first, I want to note the Office of Academic Advising and our undergraduate advising team are all located in DeRicci 206. That suite is also where our career development center is housed. So we've got career development and advising both in the same place. And you are welcome to email us we have a general advising email, advising@edgewood.edu, but each incoming first year student gets assigned an advisor, and those students are always welcome to contact their advisor directly. So students don't have to work through and contact this general advising site or the email address, but we do offer that as well. So kind of a brief overview for undergraduate advising. I've got on the right side of the screen, I've got listed the majors that my team, each bullet represents a group of majors that one of my particular team members is assigned to. So each member of our team, it's myself, and then 4 individual professional staff advisors. So each advisor has their own assigned group of majors and group of students they work with. Each of my advisors has roughly around 150 to 200. The 175 to 225 number is accurate, but the last couple of years it's been a little bit lower caseload individually for each of our students or for each of our advisors. And for the different groups, you'll notice some asterisks. Mostly my team focuses on first year advising. First year advising is the core of what we do in working with first year students. However, there are some majors, education, communications, business, and accounting, where we advise those students all the way first year, all the way up through graduation. So our team, the advisors on my team are the main academic advisor and support for that student for advising all the way through graduation. And my team and advising in general at Edgewood takes a developmental approach to advising. What that means is we recognize that your academics, as a student, academics is important, but that's also not the only identity you have. We recognize that, yes, you're a student, but you also may have other things going on in your life. You've got other potentially family members, friends, support network around you. You have other people and other things going on in your life. So we take a holistic approach to that advising. We want to get to know you. We want to know what you find important, what you value, what direction you want to go with your career, and then figure out what direction to take your academics and how that fits into kind of your larger path and career plan. If you can go to the next slide, Hannah. So the first slide talked about who we are. what are the majors my team works with? Who are we? What do we do? This second slide really focuses in on the what we do part for the key services that advising offers. So think of advising as if the student is walking down the path, pursuing their degree, the advisor comes alongside and shines the flashlight on the path. So the goal is for advising to support student success from admission through graduation. And to do that, we help students with the variety of things listed on here. Discussing academic and career goals is a big one that my team that advising does. We recognize that students, right up front, when you start your new, educational path, we always tell you, read the catalog, read the handbook, know all of these resources. Do I expect you to know all those right off the top of your head first week of classes? No, absolutely not. Your advisor is there to help you understand what those graduation requirements are. What does it mean? What's the university catalog and where to find certain things in the catalog, and help interpret and help you be able to navigate our policies and our processes and our resources on campus. As part of your kind of first registration process, we help you navigate Express, which is our registration system, and it's the student portal that students use. And that registration system is found in your student portal, along with a whole host of other resources and materials. We help students learn about pre-professional programs and develop their four-year academic plan to plan out your semester by semester classes from start to finish for your degree. And really, we help connect students with the academic resources for student success. And you'll learn about several of those resources later in this presentation. We help connect students with other campus supports when needed. We recognize that students often come into advising, and we require advising as part of course registration. So oftentimes students connect with their advisor and maybe don't know where to go for other questions. So we can be a stepping stone to help you get to the right place for other resources you may want or need to interact with. And then when things go well and when things don't go so well, your advisor can be a sounding board and a cheerleader in your corner. We celebrate successes when things go well, but we also can help provide the structure to get back on track when things go off track. Sometimes classes and grades and things don't go the way you plan to, and it takes some effort and some work to get back to where you want to go for your degree and to make good progress again. And our advising team is absolutely a support to help you succeed in that process.
Abby, can you talk a little bit about how students can get connected to you all? So we know that we came for Eagle Enrollment Day, or you registered virtually with your advisor. You're assigned a specific person to go to, but how do you get connected? Can you talk a little bit about those drop-in hours that you oftentimes host throughout the academic year?
Good question. Thank you for that reminder, Hannah. I appreciate that. So yes, first thing is you connected with your advisor at Eagle Enrollment, and your advisor, my team works throughout the summer. So we are here. You are always welcome to reach us by email. We all have electronic booking calendars currently through Calendly, where students can scan a QR code or directly use that link, go to that link to schedule appointments. At the beginning of the semester, usually at some point in the middle of the first week of classes, you'll actually get an email from your advisor as a reminder to say, hi, welcome to Edgewood. We're so excited you're here. Remember, I'm your advisor. Here's my contact information. Here's how you get a hold of me. Here's my office hours. We're looking forward to a great semester. You'll get an email from your advisor in that first week of classes. And then, as Hannah mentioned, our advising team also does drop-in hours during the fall and spring semester. So anytime during your academic year, fall and spring, when classes are in session, we have advising drop-in hours in our Dorici 206 suite every weekday from 1 to 3 p.m. So every week, all semester, fall and spring, we have drop-in hours from 1 to 3 p.m. There's 5 members on my team, so each of us takes a day of the week and we rotate through who's available any given day. And then for those drop-in hours, we expand them to have all 5 of our team members available, typically for a 3 or 4 day drop-in period around when priority registration opens for the next. So in November, when we open registration for spring class registration, we'll have drop-in days where all 5 of our team are available for drop-in hours in a certain set of days for that. Typically it's like 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We expanded a little bit for the drop-in hours for our whole team, but it's always consistently in that 1 to 3 p.m. time. If the university is open during fall and spring, advisors will be available for drop-in hours. All right, Hannah, what else did I forget?
Well, I was just mentioning, so when I was a student at Edgewood, I'm an alum. I graduated about 3 years ago. I had the lovely privilege of working with someone within our undergraduate academic advising. But then as I progressed to my program, I ended also having a faculty advisor. Can you talk a little bit about that process and how they kind of overlap to provide two areas of support for students?
Yeah, and can you back up a slide, Hannah? I didn't cover
Of
this
course.
well on my first slide, but I do want to note it. So our advising, our approach to advising, as first year students, when you come in, you always have a professional staff advisor from my team. The staff advisor knows the majors, they know the curriculum in those areas, but they also know a little bit wider resources and the processes and different forms for if you want to withdraw or if you want a special arrangement or if you need to make an exception for something for your requirements. Your first year advisor is intended to be that kind of bigger picture holistic support in addition to or on top of your academics. For certain majors, so the ones with the asterisks, I noted that our staff advisor is the advisor all the way through, and we consult with faculty key contacts as needed. But for any of those other majors, in particular, your fine arts and humanities, your sciences, including pre-health professions, but also behavior and social sciences, and then your pre-nursing and child life majors, those majors all transition from our team as staff advisors to have a faculty advisor. Pre-nursing transitions when students get admitted to the nursing program. For any of those other, for all of those other majors besides pre-nursing, you are with our staff for the first year. And then after your first year, typically in August of your second year or your sophomore year, we send an email to transition and say, hey, you have a faculty advisor. Here's your faculty advisor. Here's the introduction. So faculty are the experts in their fields. So where my team, we advise in art or music or biology. But my background, for example, as director, I advise for accounting majors. But my background is not accounting. My bachelor's was in music. My master's is in higher education. I have a key contact for faculty in the program, but for students who having the faculty contact, the intention is for students to connect with that expert in the field to get better guidance on first on the course sequencing. There are some majors where courses are offered every other fall or every other spring, and we want to make sure we get you the right sequence and the right courses for the timing of when they're offered. But also sometimes the degree that you want, like a biology degree, you may have a specific interest in that field in a particular area. Like, let's say you want to pursue and you want to go to veterinary school. So you're kind of on a pre-vet track. We'd connect you with one of our faculty advisors whose focus is animals and working with pre-vet students. So the intention is that you are getting more connection on the applications in the field, insight into possible career opportunities, insight into research projects or internships or community contacts that can benefit you better than what my staff can provide. We are still there in the background. So if you end up needing to do a medical withdrawal or something later in your college degree, yeah, we are still there to provide some additional support. If your faculty advisor is like, I don't know the answer to this, try going back to Office of Academic Advising. We can still help you. But you also have that faculty contact to give you much more depth of information within your specific field.
And I
And
think
that
that's really neat too, because when you have that staff side of things, they really help with that technical, that background of like, am I doing things correctly? Am I on track? Really helping in that regard. And then your faculty advisors are also oftentimes professors that you have had repeatedly. And so you're really establishing that rapport with them. I still see mine on campus to these days, and they check in with me. They want to make sure that I'm doing well, but then they also always want to make sure that I'm connected. So whether that is sending me different articles that they find really interesting or wanting me to connect with a student that they're currently working with, it really establishes that relationship. So you're kind of getting supported from a variety of different directions.
Yeah, absolutely, Hannah. You're absolutely right there. And you do see a lot for the faculty advisors, every one of our advisors teach classes in their major. So you will see them and interact with them inside the classroom and also outside the classroom for a variety of student clubs or organizations or in those advising conversations, maybe in research labs or in other areas too.
And the best thing is you can ask anybody a question and we will get you to the right person or we will get you the right answer. So definitely utilize everybody as resources. Awesome. Anything else to add, Abby?
Um, Look out for communication from your advisor. Your first year, as a first year student, my team will want to meet with you in the first 3 to 6 weeks as kind of a general check-in. We want to hear how you're doing on campus and also just get to know you a little more and what you're passionate about and what direction you want to take kind of your career. So we like to have that conversation again in the first few weeks as a check-in ahead of registration, which then happens later in the semester. So you'll meet with your first year advisor twice in your first semester and probably twice in your second semester as well.
Always be checking those Edgewood University emails. Start that
Yep.
habit now so it's not a huge adjustment in September.
Yep.
But awesome. Well, thank you so much, Abby. We appreciate it and all that your academic advising team does.
Yeah, thank you, Hannah. And I'll stick around for questions at the end as well, just in case.
Perfect. Thanks, Abby. All right, we are going to be transitioning now over and to talk a little bit about our library that we have on campus, as well as our different supports that are within that space. Looks like we have one of our librarians, Andrew Holbrook, to give us a little bit more information on that. Take it away, Andrew.
All righty, thank you. Um, my Zoom went to my wife's account, so my name is actually Andrew. Glad to be here with you and look forward to seeing you on campus soon. Um, Welcome to the library. We're here for you both in person and online, and I think that's what we'd really like you to know is that we have a great space on campus. So we have a beautiful building that you are welcome into um, any day of the week. It can be your home away from home when you need a break from your dorm room. It can be a place where you come to collaborate with your classmates if you need to study together and hunker down before an exam. It can also be a place where you can find some quiet self-study. We have a lot of resources that you might need for your academic work, um, but we also have leisure reading books to enjoy in your free time. We have board games. We have a lot on offer in the library, and there's almost always a puzzle out. So it's a very, I think, inviting, welcoming space that we really are here for you, um, both in person and online. A lot of what you're going to need for your coursework um, will be digital. We have research databases, we have ebooks, journal articles that you'll need for your academic assignments. And not only do we have access to those resources, we also have people who can help you figure out and navigate those resources and find what you need. So getting research help from us at the library is one of the biggest services that we can offer to help you through your academic journey. That's something that we offer both in person and online. You can come to the library anytime during the day, and there will be either me or one of the other librarians there to help you in person. We're open until 11 o'clock at night, and after hours, there's going to be a graduate student who's studying to be a librarian. So you can get expert help navigating the databases and ebooks and other research materials that you're going to need to succeed academically. Um, we have a lot of resources, but we don't have everything. We can help you get almost everything. We have an interlibrary loan program where if you see something that you need for your class and we don't have it, we can get it for you, either in print or as a PDF sent to your email. So it's a you have access to what we have, but also um, what other libraries around the country have. There's a lot of other reasons you might want to come to the library. One of the most popular is reserving a study room, whether it's yourself individually and you just need a quiet place to have some privacy and work through something that you're tackling, or whether it's you've got a big group and you're all working together to prep for an exam. We have a number of study rooms. You can reserve them for up to 2 hours, and it's a popular service that we offer. We have a lot of equipment that you can check out, not just laptops, which are mentioned on the screen, but we also have headphones, we have calculators, we have podcasting kits, we have a sewing machine. I mean, we have a lot of equipment that you could check out if you're in need or want to explore something new. You can also come to the library for printing, for copying. Um, there's a lot of technology needs that we can help you with. It's a good place though to also unwind. It's got a real pretty view out into the trees or into the snow during the wintertime. It's a good place to come and unwind, to take a break from your dorm, and just relax. You can visit us in person. Right now, we're on our summer hours, so we're not open as much as we will be during the school year. During the fall and spring semesters, we're open on school nights until 11 p.m. Um, and there's always either a professional librarian or a grad student who's studying to be a librarian there. So you can get expert help in person. But I would also direct you to our website, library.edgewood.edu. It's your one-stop shopping for resources using our library search, for research help using our research guides, for all of the databases in our A to Z list. And there like really is something under like almost every letter, possibly including Z, in that list. We have a lot of resources. The library's website is also the place where you can come to reserve a study room or contact us by email if you're not able to swing by. So library.edgewood.edu is really one-stop shopping for our resources. The cool thing about the library is that we also are partners with some other resources that you'll hear about later in the presentation. When you come to the Learning Lab or the Testing Center, those are located in the library building. So there's just a whole community of support that's available in the library from the librarians and a lot of other folks who are rooting for you and want you to have a great time on campus and in your classes. So again, my name's Andrew. Hope to see you on campus. Either I or one of the other librarians might well stop by one of your classes in the fall to introduce ourselves and give more of an overview of library services. But you're also welcome to stop by anytime. We'd be really glad to see you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Andrew. I also want to talk a little bit about my experience with the library. It wasn't that long ago. But even now, as I go through grad school, this is really my one-stop shop when it comes to finding sources for my research papers. Even when I started as a first-year student, I had a lot of questions on where do I even start? I have this prompt. I need to support it with evidence. Where do I go to get things, started and getting to understand? And I had a librarian that came to one of my classes and walked through how to locate different sources, but also how to keep track of your sources, what's important when you're navigating and reading all of these different things, what to pay attention to. So the library is a fabulous place to go to receive that additional support so that when you are writing that paper, you feel really confident. So awesome. Thanks so much, Andrew.
Absolutely. That's an awesome point. We're available at any stage. That's right. From the minute you get your assignment, you can come to the library. If you are well underway in your assignment and you got stuck, we can help get you unstuck. If you're just putting the finishing touches on and you want to make sure you did all your citations just right for your professor, beginning to end, absolutely.
Yeah, it helped me. It's not- All right, we're going to transition now over into a little bit about our testing center. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Douglas Wandersee, who is the director of our Learning Lab and Testing Center. Take it away, Doug.
Hello, how are you?
Well, I'm doing really well.
Good. How is everybody? I know I'm not seeing everybody, but it's really good to have everybody join us tonight and hear about some of the things that you're going to be experiencing in just a few short weeks, a few short months, which is coming up on us very fast. My name is Doug, As Hannah indicated, I'm the director of the Testing Center and the Learning Lab, both located, as Andrew mentioned, in our fantastic library. I'll start out talking a little bit about the Testing Center because that's actually still a relatively new resource on campus. We've only been open for about 3 semesters, but it has become an incredibly vital space for a variety of students across campus to make sure that they're getting consistent quality testing if they're not able to make that test happen in their classroom space. Why would a student maybe not have to be able to do that? Many of our students have assigned accommodations and are required to take the test in a space with less distractions or with greater time frames. Those are students that go to our testing center. We also see students that are taking practice tests for nursing with ATI, taking math assessments, as well as student athletes who are maybe having to travel and miss an exam in class and take it at a different time than the rest of the class. Same thing goes for illnesses or emergencies. I think one of the things you'll find with Edgewood College or Edgewood University, my goodness, is that everybody knows someone one step away from them. And so if you feel like you're not feeling well, getting that message to your faculty member or your staff member and making sure they know that will make it easier for you to be able to make up that test at a later date. Our testing space is located in the lower level of the library. It has a variety of private rooms as well as a larger room. And again, it's a space that has all the things you would want to be at your best to take a test. And so no distractions, a comfortable environment, a wonderful coordinator named Angie Coleman, who makes everybody's day better because it's not always easy to go in and take a test. And so she makes sure that you leave and start your test in the best way possible. And then she just has a variety of things that'll make your test experience better, whether it's noise canceling headphones, adjustable light in the rooms, desks that go up and down if you want to stand and take your test, as well as a variety of other fidgets and things that you can use during your testing time in the testing center.
Yeah, Doug, if somebody needs to utilize the testing center, I know Angie does a lot of the coordination for it, but how do they get in contact? How do they, in their first year, reserve a time and get that all set up with their professors as well as Angie?
That's a great question. And so a lot of times the professors will actually post some of that information right in their syllabus or on their Canvas site, which is Canvas is the site that they use to post all their class materials. A lot of the professors will make sure that those important resources are associated with their Canvas site. And so those are two of the most common ways. But certainly there is a SharePoint site that Angie runs that is specific for the testing center, and students can go there immediately and within a couple of questions request a testing time based on preferences in terms of days and times of day. And that quickly gets to her and she can respond and set that test up and reach out to the professor to make sure that she has that test ready to go when you show up for your test that day.
Yeah, it seems like it's a really smooth process and it's worked out really well. For those of you who are a little bit more unfamiliar, SharePoint is, as a student, you'll have access to it through your Edgewood email. So there's a variety of different departments on campus that have essentially like a landing page. I would kind of correlate it with like a Google Classroom, if that's something that you've used in the past. And so once you get on campus, you go through orientation. We'll make sure that you know where to go, especially with those more technical things, Canvas and SharePoint and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
Angie will be making the rounds too. You'll see her at orientation. You'll see her coming into classes to visit you as well. So you'll have opportunities to meet her those first weeks as well. And the good news is for most students, I think, is you don't have a test the first day.
yes, that
And
is
so
very good news.
you have a couple of days to get settled and a couple of weeks usually before some of those first quizzes or exams start to take place. So now I'd like to transition a little bit over to the other part of the work I do, which is with our Learning Lab. Our Learning Lab is located on the first floor of the library, and we function very much like a tutoring center. And we call it a Learning Lab partly because we believe that learning is the foundation of really anything that's happening at Edgewood University. And we just love the idea of a laboratory, being a space where people can get together, can work together, can support one another and experiment, try things out, be curious, make mistakes, fail, try again, ask a question. All those things that kind of accompany curiosity and learning. We've tried to set our space up so that students can experience that in real time in our space. The space itself is open 40 plus hours during the semester. And what it means by it being open is that there are coaches in there. We call our tutors coaches, for 40 hours a week or more. The thing that we're most proud of and most excited about is the fact that 1 in 3 students use our space every single semester. And what that tells us is, number one, that every student feels like at some point they need a little help with something. It is the most common thing to ask for help. You're in college, you're taking classes, you're learning material that's new to you. It's okay to ask for help with figuring some of that stuff out. And so our coaches are in there 40 hours a week. They help with drop-in hours. They do review sessions. They have a bunch of resources, and it's just a great place to study independently. We also try to make it as accessible and comfortable as possible. Again, stocking it with materials that are going to help you to make you feel comfortable, and then give you as much of the space that you need to be successful in your work. You can advance the slide.
I do have one quick question before we advance forward.
Yeah.
So I think too, one thing about the Learning Lab is that you don't have to necessarily have a specific question or problem within a certain class. There's kind of that wraparound support as well. Could you talk a little bit about what you do to provide like study skills? Like how do we establish study skills? How do we stay organized? And how this space can help incoming first year students?
Absolutely. In fact, all of our coaches, even though they are coaching in a specific subject like statistics or chemistry or writing, they're all working with you on another set of skills, which are like student 101 skills: how to be organized, how to prioritize your day, how to study for a test, how to take notes differently if it's not working for you in a different style, how to even just take a deep breath and get yourself in the right mindset to take that test or to finish that project. And so I think a lot of our coaches, the first thing they do is check in with you, the student, and say, what do you need right now? Or what can we help you with today? Where are you at? And where can we start with you now? They don't have a presumption of where to begin. They're going to let you tell them what you need from them right now. Some students will come in and say, you know what, leave me alone. I need to study by myself and just have a quiet time for myself, or I want to have my coffee and work on this for a little bit, and I'll come over and ask in a little while. Great. We'll see you in a little bit. And I think what's really cool about our spaces is that students can come in and use them how they prefer to use it. And so a lot of students will just come in because they like the environment and they don't even need to interact with anyone. But certainly the coaches work throughout the day to help with students in a variety of tasks. And they'll even sit down with you. And one of the things that we provide is a free planner at the start of the semester. And it's an Edgewood planner, which is really cool. We spend all summer putting it together. It's filled with dates and holidays and events that are occurring in Edgewood's campus all year long. And so it's a great planner for you as an Edgewood student because all that stuff's already predetermined for you and in the planner. And so if you are a student who likes to plan, who likes to be organized, or maybe thinks that maybe you need to be a little more organized, having a free planner that's Edgewood oriented and has those dates and stuff already embedded in it could be really helpful so that you know when fall break is or when the last day is to cancel, to drop your class if you decide you're going to drop a class. And so it has a lot of those really important deadlines. And the coaches will sit down and work with you on how to fill out a planner, how to use it so that it can be a tool that you'll make sure and use throughout the day to the best of your ability. We do have 25 students that are working there across a variety of subjects. They really focus on collaboration with you, and they really focus on confidence and connection, because that's where learning comes from, is if you can connect with others, if you connect with ideas, if you connect with parts of things that you've learned in other areas and parts of things you're learning right now, if you're connecting with classmates, if you're confident in thinking things through or making a mistake and trying again, that's where the learning happens. And so we really focus on trying to create strategies around making those things happen. And you'll find if you come into our space, it's hard to know which ones are the coaches and which ones are the students, because there's so much activity going around the table, and it's not chaos. It's students really digging in and working together to figure stuff out, whether it's a calculus problem or working together to write a paper. We have a variety of spaces too. So some of the tables are big and you can get 5 or 6 people around them, but we also have a lot of little spots where you can tuck away and be by yourself and have some privacy and some quiet too. The last thing I'll talk about is you, our students. Like I mentioned before, our coaches want to meet you where you're at. They've been through the class that you're in, so they want to make sure that they're connecting with you at the point where you're in this class. And so that's often the first question they'll ask you is what are you working on today, or what did you learn in class today, or what's your next assignment? And then why you come in. Students come in for a variety of reasons, and we feel like every one of them counts. Some students just want to come in and relax and have their lunch. Others want to work with others in their class. Others have very specific questions. And I think what's been really successful about our space is even the professors that are at Edgewood, we have professors that will hold their office hours in the learning lab because they realize they can meet more students there and help more students there. And because that's where the students go and feel comfortable. And so even faculty are coming to that space every week and spending time working with students, and not just in their class. That could be any student that comes in. We really try to create a community around learning in that space. And then finally, who are the students that come in? The students are you, truly. If 1 in 3 students comes in, that means that a whole lot of students are coming into the space. It's not just the students that are struggling. It's the students that are achieving. It's the students that really want to understand something because they care about it. And so we see students from every stripe of life, from first years to seniors to graduate students, students that are struggling in a class, students that are doing great in a class. They all come in because they really realize that when they go into that space, they can have something that's going to make them a better student.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Doug. I think really to kind of push the Learning Lab home is also just, it's a great place. I mean, I feel like you've heard it a ton of different times, but one of my favorite things was one time I needed a site in Chicago and I did not know where to start with that. And so I was able to utilize the Learning Lab and collaborate with my peers and ultimately do what I needed to do to get the job done. And it felt really good to have a supportive community around me. Anything else to add, Doug?
No, other than we really look forward to seeing you. Coaches end up going out to visit classes in the fall. So the first couple of weeks, you may see several different coaches coming to introduce themselves in your classes. letting you know that they're the ones you can come to if you have specific questions about that class. Otherwise, we really encourage you to kind of explore your first week and come find us in the library. We're happy to have you come in, and then we look forward to seeing you. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Doug. All right, we are going to transition over. We have Catherine Kiesler speaking with us now about the Dean of Students office and our Wellness Center. And Catherine serves as our Director of Community Standards and Student Wellbeing. So take it away, Catherine.
All right. Hello, everybody. So my name is Catherine Kiesler. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful. My name is Catherine Kiesler. I use she, her pronouns. I work in the Dean of Students office, as Hannah was just saying. So our Dean of Students office is located in Dorici 222. So if you have potentially stopped by the financial aid office, the residence life office, you are in the same neighborhood as the Dean of Students office. So we're located in the same room, oh my goodness, the same office as the residence life office, which is also located about like right across the hall from financial aid. We like to think of ourselves as kind of a one-stop shop for student support. And so if really your student is looking for any sort of support at all, it is a great place to start. So as Hannah mentioned, I am the Director for Community Standards and Student Wellbeing. So I oversee student wellbeing and student wellbeing programming. This can include things like financial literacy programming. This can include basic needs support. So we have a Catherine's Food Pantry here on campus. It is not named after me. It is named after St. Catherine of Siena. I just have the privilege of running the food pantry. But we have other kind of financial supports here on campus, as well as basic needs and security supports. This also includes our Eagle Cares team, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about later, and then community standards. Community standards encompasses a multitude of different things, but just to highlight a few, is our student conduct process. So in cases where students potentially violate one of our policies, or maybe has an incident happen that involved them that they're concerned about, that they'd like to report just to make sure that it can get handled, they can come to our office. We also oversee academic dishonesty as well. I know that these are not the fun things to talk about, but I think that they can be important to note that really if your student has any concerns about something that might have taken place on campus, that we're a great place to stop. Academic dishonesty, I think, also is maybe a little bit of like a hot button topic right now, especially with kind of rise in like AI usage, things like that. And so I will just kind of put a little plug in there, as well as I know that a couple people have already mentioned reading the syllabus for each class. And so wanting to make sure that you are familiar with what is in the syllabus, just to make sure that no policies are being violated, things like that. But we'll talk about more of the student well-being side of things, but just wanted to highlight that that is something that our office does as well. So we can go to the next slide.
Awesome. And I will also like to preface too, I did not know what a syllabus was until I was a college student. It is your packet that has the policies of your class, the expectations of your class, as well as the schedule of your course, the things you will be discussing, projects, exams, everything like that. So it really is your one piece, your one document per class that really gives you a good overview of the semester.
All right. So to kind of go back to student well-being more so, especially because I think these are going to be the things you'll want to know about, especially within that first semester here at Edgewood. One of our biggest student well-being kind of programs that we have here on campus is Eagle Cares. So Eagle Cares is essentially a team of different staff members here on campus, where our primary role is to support students achieving their personal success. So this could be academic success, financial success, personal concerns that maybe are impacting their personal or academic well-being. And so as you can see, the team is made up of different offices here on campus. So yes, it is hosted by the Dean of Students office, but it also encompasses people from the Wellness Center, academic success, safety and security, student life, accessibility and disability services, mission, values, inclusion, athletics, and Edgewood Central are all represented on that team. So when we say that we really, really care about students' holistic well-being, we truly mean it. We have people on that team that can represent what does it look like to be a resident here on campus? What does it look like to be a student athlete and be struggling? What does it look like to potentially have some financial barriers that need to be situated? Or what does it look like to maybe need some of that extra support in the classroom in their academic success in order to succeed in those classes? So what students can do to get connected to our team is a number of different things. So students can refer themselves to the Eagle Cares team. There's a short form that you fill out online, which is just on our Dean of Students Office website. For students that maybe can recognize, hey, I'm struggling, or hey, it might be really helpful to connect with somebody from this team to get some extra support, they can fill out the form themselves. On the other hand, sometimes it's hard to recognize in the moment, hey, I'm struggling and I think that I need some support right now. And so sometimes we rely on the people around us. So that can be a staff member, a faculty member, a friend, another student, or even sometimes maybe a parent or a support outside of Edgewood, that they can all still fill out those referrals and let us know, hey, I'm seeing this student struggling, and I think it would be really helpful for them to meet with somebody to chat more about what's going on and to get referred to some supports. So as I mentioned kind of previously, we can get you connected to supports like basic needs and security, financial support, things like that. We can also get you connected to well-being resources like mental health and physical health care. And we're talking not just on campus, but also in our community as well. One of the great things about Edgewood is it is situated in a fantastic community. And that also means that we have access to a lot of really incredible resources here in the area. And like, I know that a lot of people don't know about a lot of them, right? And so allowing us to be able to help get you connected to those supports can be a really, really great way to make sure that as a student, you're also able to be successful and also feel successful. So this is just one small way to get connected to those things. And even if it's something simple like, hey, I'm just curious about what resources exist for this topic, connect with us. And even if we don't have kind of the resource right on hand, we will help you do the work of searching for that resource, getting connected to that resource. So that way you're not alone in doing that as well.
Catherine, I know that accessibility and disability services falls under the umbrella of the Dean of Students Department. We had several questions come in a little bit earlier speaking about acquiring accommodations. How do you translate over your IEP? Are you able to talk about that a little bit of that process for students?
Yeah, I will say I maybe can't share total specifics, but absolutely. And it's not an uncommon thing actually that the Eagle Cares team helps people connect with, especially because I think one of the lesser known things is that you can receive accommodations for like mental health diagnoses. You can also receive accommodations even for things like if you have a death in the family, right? And that is going to be a major impact. You can get accommodations for inside of the classroom to make sure that while even temporary things are happening, that you can still receive that support. So our Office for Disability and Accessibility Services is the office that you would want to go to if you are seeking those supports. Tessa Timler is the director of that office. She is fantastic. I cannot recommend connecting with her enough. Typically, what the process looks like is essentially that a student would get into contact with Tessa, with the office, to let them know that they're seeking any kind of supports. What will be required is that you'll fill out a form to let Tessa know kind of what you're seeking. For students who have maybe had an IEP in the past, they can also include what that information would be as like what maybe was helpful when they were in high school, documentation. Documentation will be required in order to get the accommodations, but kind of once that initial step is set up, Then TESOL reaches out to students to have a meeting where they get to talk a little bit more in depth. And so for students who maybe had an IEP, maybe there were things that you felt worked really well, and maybe there were things that you want to see if we can do differently. And that can be a part of that meeting with Tessa to figure out more details about what can be done kind of in the classrooms for support. Once that happens, Tessa will notify you, and you have to just basically sign off and say, yes, I want that sent to my instructors. And then that will get sent to the instructors for the semester. It is something that has to be done semesterly. So I will actually just throw that out there right now, because it is important for us to receive permission, right, to send those out. And so each semester you'll just let Tessa know, yes, I want those sent out. No updates need to be made, and those will be sent out to instructors. The other piece that I will say too is if you are ever worried about kind of timing for getting those accommodations, so let's say you're feeling at the beginning of the semester, I think I'm okay. I don't think I need any accommodations right now. Now, I will say if you feel that they would be helpful, I always encourage you to have them, right? It's better to have them and not need them than not have them and need them. But let's say, October rolls around and you're feeling like, I think it would actually be really helpful to have those accommodations. Please know that just because we're midway through the semester, a couple months in, you can absolutely still access those. And once you get through that process, they will be sent out immediately and will be in effect. So especially if you're feeling midway through the semester, I am struggling, or it might be helpful for me to have those formal supports, definitely get connected with her sooner rather than later, just to make sure that those can be put in place.
Awesome. Thank you, Catherine. Also, too, if you are seeking those accommodations for this upcoming semester, don't hesitate to get in contact with your admissions counselor, and then we will also help you to get in contact with disability and accessibility services.
Great. And then the last thing that I'll note about the Dean of Students office is really that note of kind of one-stop shop for any support. It is also a great place to go if you want to kind of report any concerns or get some support. So on our website, that's where you can find the Eagle Cares reporting form or the referral form to let us know that you're noticing somebody that might be struggling, even if that person is yourself. That's where you can find more information about community standards. You can also report any bias incidents that you've maybe seen or experienced, any concerns with sexual misconduct. You can learn more about early alerts as well, crisis resources, financial resources, withdrawals. I know Abby had mentioned medical withdrawals as an option that some students need kind of previously. That is something that I really recommend connecting with your advisor, and then note too that that process is through our office. And so if you have any sort of medical emergency, something that's going to not allow you to continue with the semester, we can help with some of those larger kind of emergencies as well. This is also where you can find the student handbook. Now, I know it is not leisurely reading. I do not expect you to read it before you go to bed every night. However, I will say it is a very important resource, a very good resource for you to know your rights and responsibilities, right? These are important for you to know as a student. So I will just shameless plug for the student handbook. And then for students, this is a resource just for students because you will have to log in with your Edgewood username and password, but you can visit SharePoint, and that is where the QR code will take you. But there is a SharePoint site with more information about each of these resources, so that way you have them really easily accessible. You can even go ahead and bookmark that. And then, of course, parents and families, you can all access both the Dean of Students Office website as well as the Eagle Families website, or even just contact us at our phone number or the Edgewood email if you have any questions or concerns. Now, I know that there are times where we might not be able to speak as transparently with you because of our kind of federal regulations. However, we're always happy to answer any general questions that can still be helpful for your students' success. All right. And then I will move over to the Wellness Center. I know we had a couple of questions in here, I think, about this, so I'm going to try to cover them as well as I talk about this. So I will first note, so I work in the Dean of Students office. I do not work in the Wellness Center. However, I'm going to be the representative today talking about the Wellness Center. And so if there are any specific questions that I'm not able to answer, of course, you can absolutely reach out to the staff within the Wellness Center for more details. The first note is that we're the Wellness Center. I say I'm not in the Wellness Center, and then I immediately use we. The Wellness Center is located in Predalin 215, which is really great. It's right in the main building here on campus, extremely accessible. And it consists of 3 different spaces: personal counseling services, health services, and the relaxation room. And so I think we'll start with personal counseling services, which offers free and confidential mental health services. So every student is able to receive 10 sessions per year of individual therapy, which is really great and really, really useful for students who need that extra mental health support. Now, this does not include group therapy, which we offer typically each semester. Now, different groups run at different times, but you can always visit the website for more information about what group might be running at that time, or even potentially just email or stop by the Wellness Center for more information. Group therapy is also one of those things where I know that there can be like a lot of nervousness potentially doing something like that. However, we have received a lot of extremely positive feedback of students really, really enjoying their time within group therapy, being able to really connect with others, and connecting with others also that might be going through something pretty similar to them. The great thing is, as well, is that group therapy does not contribute to that 10 session limit. And so this can be a really great option as well for students who are maybe kind of seeking some extra support on top of maybe individual therapy sessions that they're receiving. The other kind of session that does not contribute to the 10 session limit is our urgent care sessions. This might be for students who are experiencing something more emergent and needing some of that extra support during business hours. So this could include something like maybe a death in the family, or something that really means that they're kind of needing to be seen right away. For urgent care appointments, they can just stop right into Predalin 215 and let the persons at the desk know that that is what they're seeking, and they will work with the student to be able to get them seen as soon as possible. Typically, it can be even within 15 to 30 minutes, but they'll be able to work with that student for what will work best for them. So you can find more information on the websites at edgewood.edu/wellness and counseling. And then edgewood.caresforyou.org is also a great resource for students who are maybe looking for some feedback about what might be helpful. It actually goes to an anonymous survey where students can fill out a questionnaire and then get feedback directly, anonymously, but directly from somebody who works within personal counseling services. And this can be a really nice, I think, sometimes first step for students who maybe are wanting some advice, wanting to kind of get some care, but are a little bit hesitant about maybe which routes will work best for them. So this is a great way to get connected. And then the last thing on this slide as well is Let's Talk, which I will plug because this is a really awesome resource that is hosted weekly every semester. The dates and times change, so I don't know what it will be this upcoming semester, but students will be able to check the website as well as posters, flyers around campus for more information about this. But it is a drop-in consultation service, so it is not therapy, but it might be for the student who is thinking, I have to have a really difficult conversation with my roommate coming up, and I just want some advice. Like, how do I have that conversation in a way that maybe that person is going to receive it the best, and also I'm going to be comfortable while having that conversation? So even just some kind of extra support that might be needed, Let's Talk is a really great option to just drop in during that time, maybe chat with somebody for a little bit. Even if maybe that conversation looks like, I'm thinking about pursuing individual therapy, but I don't know what that looks like, and I'm not sure if that's for me. So I will kind of say that all of these resources are available to students. But if you have any questions about utilizing these resources, well, you can always stop in, and Let's Talk can be a really great option to ask those questions as well. And then health services is the other part of the wellness center. So health services is located right next to personal counseling services. And healthcare services include medications, immunizations, lab tests, health screenings, and physical exams. This can be a really, really great option for some of our programs that maybe require physicals, that it can be a little bit harder to get in to maybe a clinic in your area or kind of in a timely manner. So I know that Suzanne Wallace, who is our nurse practitioner that staffs this office, she sees a lot of nursing students, for example, who maybe need immunizations for clinicals, need a physical exam for clinicals, things like that. We are available and open Mondays and Wednesdays by appointment. While drop-in is okay, I will say making an appointment is going to be the best way to be able to connect with her, just because she is only here on Mondays and Wednesdays. So to make sure that you can get that that time slot, definitely make an appointment. One of the great things I will also note is that a standard visit is about $20. Now, with medications and immunizations, those will be an additional charge, but it's billed right to the student account, which can be really, really helpful if maybe you don't want to go through insurance. Maybe you don't have insurance, but you're wanting to make sure that you can receive some care. This can be a really, really affordable way to get that care as well. The other space that I don't think I have a slide for, but I do want to make sure that I mention as well, since I kind of glossed over it, and it is one of the like shining, stars of the wellness center, is our relaxation room. So Hannah, I don't know if you could actually go back 2 slides, just because there is a picture of just some of the things that you can expect to enjoy from the relaxation room. So this is located right across from personal counseling services, but it is all part of the wellness center. And in this space, this is a space where students can come for, well, relaxation. So there are full body massage chairs. There is a Keurig with like coffees, teas, hot chocolates. I believe there are things like a Zen garden and just like really calming activities. And it is a lovely, lovely space. I am very jealous that it is only open to students, but I am also happy that they have access to this space. So it's a great spot for maybe commuters who are looking for a spot to be. This is a great spot when you're maybe waiting for a personal counseling services appointment, or even after the appointment, to be able to kind of rest, relax with dim lighting. And what's great too is that really, like, in general, it is that space. We don't really have students coming in there being like loud or anything. It is a space that people respect as the relaxation room. And so I will plug that space as well, since that is open during business hours and is a really nice spot to be. And then the last thing that I will mention, I know that somebody had mentioned specifically kind of receiving some conflicting information about health history forms. I'm going to do my best to let you know what I think may be happening. So in general, for residential students especially, you're going to need to be completing a health history form. Now, that will be something that you will want to complete before you move onto campus. And if you don't have it filled out, they will make you fill it out in the moment before receiving your key. So this is my warning, or kind of my plug, to please make sure that that is filled out before you're here on campus. I do also know, and maybe Hannah, you even might know a little bit more about this. I believe that athletics also has students fill out a health history form, and they are not the same form, if I'm correct. So for athletes, maybe some of that conflicting information might be that you're having to fill out two health history forms. So I will just note that I believe if you are a non-athlete, there should just be one unless something is required by a program or something like that. However, if you are an athlete, there may be two health history forms that you have to fill out. Is that correct, Hannah?
Yes, yep. And if you are an athlete, that communication for that specific health history form will come directly from your coaching staff. So they'll make sure that you have everything together on that front, and then you have that additional from our residence life team.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm glad that I got that right because I don't work in residence life or athletics, so just doing my best here. And then the last thing that I'll say that will be helpful as well is just keeping a copy or a photo of each side of your insurance card. If you have it on you, great, but just wanting to make sure that you always have that information and especially noting where you can go for urgent and emergency care. A lot of those urgent care resources can be found on that Eagle Care SharePoint, the Eagle Family site. And also, if you are a social media user, we actually have like a little highlight story even on our Division of Student Development account where you can find all of those crisis resources, including urgent and emergency care resources. So we're in a great location to be able to receive that care here in Madison, but just wanting to make sure that, you know, you're prepared in case something were to happen, that you know where to go, that you have that insurance card on you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Catherine. Also, just back quickly to the health history form, there is a copy of this form within Edgewood Express. And once a student logs in, they can select current student, and then their forms pop up on the right-hand side. So you can go to like residence life specifically, and then it kind of leads you there. But again, if you have any questions about this stuff or things that need to happen before move-in, just reach out to your admissions counselor. We will make sure that you get connected and have everything put together. So I want to be super respectful of everybody's time, and I do know that we went a little bit over that 7 o'clock mark, but lots of good information was shared with us today. So I would like to just kind of leave it open for a minute here to see if any questions pop up on that Q&A function. If not, thank you all so much for joining us this evening. So I'll hang out for just a second here and see. Otherwise, we can enjoy the rest of our Wednesday evening. Just to see if anyone's typing in. Okay, here we go. Does using the printer have an additional cost? Yes, it does, but funds are already allocated over into the printing. We use PaperCut. I don't know, Catherine, do you have a little bit more information on this? It's already allocated based off of tuition and fees, so it's not anything additional. I believe you can always add more, but I don't think a lot of students frequently run out of that those designated funds. Is that right, Catherine?
Yes, absolutely. I have never heard of a student actually running out of those funds. I think
Me
that you
neither.
get quite a bit of money, yeah, at the beginning of each semester. And honestly, especially with so many instructors having things turned in digitally, it's probably like very, very rare for students to run out. But even for an idea of how much it costs, it's like 5 cents per page to print, 10 cents if it's in color. But really, the funds that you have right away will cover pretty much all of your needs for the semester.
Yes. Awesome. In terms of the relaxation room, are there reservations for the relaxation room or is it just open?
Yeah, it is completely drop in. So anytime during business hours, which would be 8 a.m. to 4:30, it will be open. So no renting or kind of reserving necessary. You can drop in at any point. It can be full at times when students stop by. I know sometimes the massage chairs might be booked, but typically we just ask that students, you know, use it for a respectful amount of time to make sure that everybody can get a turn.
Awesome. Thank you. I don't see any more questions pop up right now, but I do also want to note that there was a question that came in a little bit earlier about recommended technology. I always say in the admissions front, it's really whatever the student is most comfortable with. As a student, you have access to your Microsoft Suite. So your Edgewood email is an Outlook email, and then you have access to Word, Excel, PowerPoint that you can download onto your desktop of your laptop. So in terms of, do I recommend a Mac versus a Dell? Not necessarily. It's really based off of that student comfort. And then Canvas is the main platform you use for your classes to access them. And that can be accessed via like a Google browser. So just wanted to make sure I got that out there. Correct. There is no provided technology. That was a question that just came in. There are opportunities in the library as well as the Technology Assistance Center to briefly rent some technology. And we have desktops around campus, but in more so those classroom usages, the student provides that. And I think Doug might have a couple more things to say about that. So give me 1 second here. Doug, if you're talking, you are on mute.
Yeah, I'm the worst. So yeah, I was just gonna say the library has options for checking out laptops in a pinch, and also, the no student necessarily is going to know what they're going to need day one either. And so I always encourage students to, if you're not sure what you might need, you might find out just during the course of your first semester too. And so it really does depend on your program and your comfort level with different technologies, and what works for you. And so you don't need, not everybody needs an iPad. And it may be something that's much more reasonably priced.
Awesome. We got a couple more questions coming in. Internet access on campus. Once your student is on campus, they will receive a nifty pamphlet from our Technology Assistance Center. There are several Wi-Fi connections on campus for different devices. So if a student's hooking up a TV versus a computer, they can join separate networks so that they don't get overwhelmed there. So we have support for that. And then our Technology Assistance Center is on the first floor here in DeRicci Hall, and they can help with any questions. So if a student has an issue with their Edgewood University login, or Edgewood Express isn't working quite right, or they are having trouble connecting to the Wi-Fi, we have staff readily available to help students navigate that as well. So great questions, everybody. Any other questions? All right. Well, if there are no other questions, I will reiterate yet again, if there's anything that didn't go answered this evening, please reach out to admissions and we will make sure to get you an answer and get you connected accordingly. Otherwise, I want to thank everybody, our presenters, as well as our attendees for helping us out this evening and talking about academic success and wellness. Next week, we will have our Wednesday webinar on financials. So looking more at student accounts, financial aid, and billing. So if you haven't already done so, please register for that. And we will all see you all next time. Thanks so much.